The United Kingdom faces a serious economic challenge. Its national debt is projected to triple within the next 50 years. This is a stark warning from the Office for Budget Responsibility, the OBR.
Their projections show a bleak outlook for the UK's public finances. Without significant action, the UK's economy could be in jeopardy. The UK's debt-to-GDP ratio is already high, currently at almost 100%.
By 2071, this ratio could reach a staggering 274%. This level of debt would put the UK in a very vulnerable position. It would limit the country's ability to respond to future crises.
The OBR's projections have sent shockwaves through the UK. They highlight the urgent need for action. Failure to address the growing debt could have severe consequences.
The government must take steps to increase tax revenue and boost productivity. These measures are essential to put the UK's public finances on a sustainable path.
National debt is the total amount of money a government owes to its creditors. This debt accumulates over time when a government spends more money than it takes in through taxes and other revenue streams.
Running a deficit is not always a bad thing, but persistent deficits can lead to unsustainable levels of debt. The debt-to-GDP ratio is a key indicator of a country's economic health.
A high debt-to-GDP ratio suggests that a country may have difficulty repaying its debts, leading to a loss of confidence in the economy. The UK's current debt-to-GDP ratio is already a cause for concern. The OBR's forecast of 274% by 2071 is deeply troubling.
This level of debt would severely limit the government's ability to invest in essential public services.
It can lead to higher interest rates, making it more expensive for businesses and individuals to borrow money. It can also lead to inflation, eroding the value of people's savings. In extreme cases, a high debt burden can even lead to a sovereign debt crisis.
A confluence of factors is driving the projected surge in the UK's national debt. One major factor is the country's aging population. As people live longer, they require more healthcare and pension benefits, straining government finances.
An aging population also means fewer people of working age to contribute taxes. Another major factor is climate change. The UK government is committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2050, requiring significant investment in renewable energy and other green initiatives.
These investments will be costly and add to the government's debt burden. Rising geopolitical tensions, such as the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, have led to increased defense spending. The UK government has committed to increasing defense spending to 2.5% of GDP.
Finally, the UK is still grappling with the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. The government provided significant financial support during the pandemic, adding to the national debt.
The UK now faces the challenge of restoring public finances while supporting a fragile economic recovery.
Section 4. Public spending and the economy. Feeling the pinch. The projected surge in national debt has profound implications for public spending and the overall UK economy. As the debt burden grows, the government will have less money available to spend on essential public services.
This could lead to cuts in healthcare, education, and social care. High levels of debt can also stifle economic growth. When governments have to spend a large portion of their revenue on debt interest payments, it leaves less money for investment in infrastructure, education, and research and development.
The OBR estimates that by 2071, public spending could rise to over 60% of GDP, driven primarily by the increasing costs of healthcare, social care, and pensions.
The UK would risk falling behind other developed countries in terms of living standards and economic competitiveness. Furthermore, the transition to a net zero economy will require significant upfront investments, potentially adding to the debt burden in the short to medium term.
The UK government will need to strike a delicate balance between investing in the future and managing the national debt. Section 5. The government's response, a balancing act. The UK government is acutely aware of the challenges posed by the rising national debt. It has repeatedly emphasised its commitment to restore economic stability and put the public finances on a sustainable footing.
However, critics argue that the government has not yet presented a comprehensive plan to address the issue. The government has taken some steps to address the debt, announcing plans to raise taxes and reduce spending.
Businesses argue that higher taxes will stifle investment and growth, while others argue that spending cuts will disproportionately impact the most vulnerable in society.
The government faces a difficult balancing act. It needs to reduce the debt without choking off economic growth or causing undue hardship.
The government will need to engage in a process of open and honest dialogue with the public about the need for fiscal responsibility.
Only then can a national consensus be built around the need for difficult decisions. The future of the UK economy is in the balance.
Section 6, a call to action, staying informed and engaged. The UK's national debt crisis is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. It is essential that the public is informed about the challenges facing the country and the potential solutions. It is also important to engage with elected officials and make your voice heard. Write to your MP and let them know your concerns about the national debt. This is not just a matter for politicians and economists, it affects everyone living in the UK. There are a number of things that individuals can do to stay informed and engaged. They can read news articles and reports from reputable sources, such as the Office for Budget Responsibility and the Institute for Fiscal Studies. Section 7. Conclusion. Navigating the path to fiscal sustainability. The UK's national debt is on an unsustainable trajectory. The OBR's projections are a stark warning. Failure to act decisively could have dire consequences for the UK's economic future. The factors driving the debt surge are complex and interconnected. Addressing this challenge will require a multifaceted approach. The government must take steps to boost productivity, increase tax revenue, and control public spending. The public has a vital role to play in this process. By staying informed and engaged, citizens can hold the government accountable and contribute to a national conversation about the best way forward. The UK must act now to secure its economic future.